Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, government secures delayed interest payments in debt restructuring deal with external bilateral creditors, but no haircut on principal. We'll bring you details. Also coming up, the choice of a running mate for the NPP presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumias, is big political story this week as a leaked NIB survey favors Energy Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh among party members, but it is a different story in the markets.
We plead with our party leaders to pick the woman as running mate so she can champion our interest.
Ahead on business and politics, we discuss if the business community could shape the decision on who becomes running mate of Dr. Bawumias. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Well, first up, government has secured delayed payment on interest and postponement on maturity date in restructured debt deal with bilateral creditors. This is what Joy Business has picked up from persons with knowledge of the current negotiations with these creditors. George Afe has the latest.
Some of the terms captured in the agreement on the Memorandum of Understanding the government has reached with the bilateral creditors through the Official Creditor Committee. However, based on what we have picked up, one cannot say that everything has been finalized. This is because the Memorandum of Understanding is just the broad framework, the debt restructuring for these creditors. However, government now has to move and engage each individual country in terms of what can be described as the final deal when it comes to restructuring the $13.4 billion owed these creditors. One is also not clear for now how these terms that government has reached with these bilateral creditors could influence the current discussions with the Eurobond holders, especially when these commercial creditors are also pushing for what can be described as equal terms for all the creditors. But some analysts have argued that despite Ghana securing this delayed interest payment, it has to set up an escrow account and start putting some money aside until the time is up to start making the payments.
Well, meantime, the executive board of the IMF is set to pass Ghana on its second review under the fund program next week. That's on the 28th of June. The board will also approve and disburse $360 million for the country. Analysts are upbeat about that money from the IMF because it will go a long way to improve liquidity in the market and help stabilize the weakening cedi in the near term. So let's take a look at how the cedi is faring on the currency market. This afternoon, dollar buying rate for the dollar is 15 cedis 30 pesos, also selling at 15 cedis 70 pesos. The pound sterling going for the buying rate for the pound sterling 19 cedis 30 pesos, selling at 19 cedis 70 pesos. And take a look at the euro. This afternoon, the buying rate 16 cedis 30 pesos and selling at 16 cedis 70 pesos. So that is what is currently happening on the currency market. We turn to a bit of politics as we inch close to the December polls. Some politicians and political parties often attach special interest to markets in electioneering, mainly to take advantage of the population, their influence on customers. For markets in Kumasi, a long-fostered relation with the Chief of Staff, Akosia Firmo, has resulted in some of the traders lobbying for her appointment as running mate of Dr. Bawumias. In a series of press conferences, the traders have consistently emphasized the influence of the Chief of Staff in the NPP's chances at the polls. Nanaya Jima puts the spotlight on the politics in the markets and the fast acceptance of the Chief of Staff by many groupings in the markets.
Though markets are places of trade, it is a powerhouse in politics, especially in an election year. At the peak of the election campaigns, leading presidential flag bearers John Dramani Mahama of the NDC and NPP's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumias have visited markets, including KJTIA in Kumasi. The New Force and Movement for Change have also targeted traders in these markets. For the dominance of the NPP in the Ashanti region, the party is deemed popular in the markets, manifesting in a lot of identifiable groups affiliated to the NPP. Many of these groups, through press conferences, have lobbied for the Chief of Staff, Akosua Freema Osei Opare, to be chosen as running mate.
We, the traders, are very influential. We have the numbers. For the sake of the Ashanti region's voter population, Freema Opare is the best choice. We plead with our party leaders to pick the woman as running mate so she can champion our interests. We plead with Dr. Bawumias to consider her.
The racecourse market perhaps has the largest following for the Chief of Staff, as almost all the leaders of various commodity traders are lobbying for her to be named running mate.
Well, some market politics at play. Interesting report there by Nanaya Ojima, bringing in our lead data analyst here, John News, Isaac Ofieje. And Isaac, the choice of a running mate for the NPP, no doubt a big deal. We've seen what's happening in the markets. The traders saying, well, get us a woman as a running mate. But I want us to first start off with why the choice of a running mate is a big deal for the business community, and how can they influence the decision made by Dr. Bawumias eventually?
Well, you had the market women, no Freema, no votes, and that was very, very categorical. And this didn't happen anywhere in this country but the World Bank of the NPP when it comes to, elections. And we know that the reason why this is important in choosing your running mate is that you need to look at all the dynamics to make sure that you get the right pairing for the election. In the business community, it's important because we know who the running mate turns out to be, the vice president, chairman of the economic management team. And this time around, by the redefinition of who a vice president possibly can be, we've seen their other additional roles. Like we've seen Vice President Dr. Bawumias, spearheading, digitalization agenda and other forms of technology in this country. And so that role has been redefined a bit, modernized a bit to look different from what we know. But it is so important to the businesses because somebody who chairs the economic management team, they need to make sure that they get the right piece to fit the bill.
All right, and so there's some leaked information from the NIB on who is being favored amongst party members of the NPP. We're going to show that in a bit. It turns out the energy minister is greatly favored, as you can see on your screen. Take us through.
Yeah, so how did we come by this information? This is from the National Intelligence Bureau, and if you should trust any institution with gathering intelligence, it should be this institution. And they say they've been sampling and polling across and talking to delegates, national executive members of the NPP, grassroots members, polling station executive, all of them, and asking them who do they think will be the best pairing, who do they think will be the best person to go with Dr. Bawumias in the 2024 polls. And 76.27% say they think that Matthew Opoku Prempeh fits the bill. 10.16% say Yao Duchum, who is a current education minister, can be. 4.567% say any other person apart from these five can actually fit the bill. But the reason why this is important is the woman that you heard the market, women and men chanting that no Freema, no vote. She got 3.34% of the vote. But I mean, this may not really truly reflect what is supposed to happen because this is from the delegates, 5,116 delegates and national executive and polling station executive that they actually involved in this survey. Maybe at a national level, possibly there are people who prefer the woman, Freema Opare, who is the current chief of staff. But it's interesting how Matthew Opoku Prempeh is able to sweep 76% of the votes in terms of the survey outcomes.
In 2012, the economy was a big factor in the elections, and so we saw the political parties choose running mates like Dr. Emerson Arthur, the late Dr. Emerson Arthur, as running mate for the presidential candidate of the NDC then, and then Dr. Bawumias, the vice presidential pick for the NPP then. The economy is still facing challenges now, but we don't see that as the determinant for the choice of a running mate. I mean, if you look at the NDC's choice of Jenana Opoku, you wonder, is the economy still a major factor? What are the dynamics at play right now?
I mean, there was a graph that came which showed where they think that the running mate should come from. That tells you that, let's see that graph. That tells you that it goes beyond, I'll come to this shortly, but that tells you that it goes beyond just somebody coming from the Bank of Ghana or somebody with economic background. We know that over the previous election periods, it's either you select somebody from the Bank of Ghana or somebody with economic background. Professor Atamils himself was an economist. Muhammad Bawumias himself is also an economist, and there's also Emisa Atamils, so rest in peace. All of them are economists, and two of them are from the Bank of Ghana, having worked with the Bank of Ghana. But this time around, the dynamics are different. Why is it different? Because we see that there's a certain card that all the political parties, except maybe in 1992 and 1990, probably 1996, that this card did not appear. But there's a card that they all play, that is, the North and South tickets, where if you have a presidential candidate coming from the North, it means that his running mate should possibly come from the South. And all of this is important beyond the fact that the running mate, or who the person tends to be the vice president, is in charge of the economy of the country. They are also very, very circumspect with respect to where they pick this person from. Except for, Jerry John Rawlings, who was able to pick Atamils, so that was the South tickets, and they were able to win. Even that, a lot of people say it was an outlier in 1992 and 1996. But right from 2000, you know that if you pick somebody from the North, you really have to pick the other component from the South, and that has been the dilemma. For the NPP, because of the Dankwa Buzia Dobo tradition, where usually the main candidate comes from either the Dankwa or the Buzia, and the vice president or the running mate position is always given to the Domo. Now, the Domos are now the main candidates, and so you are expecting that either the running mate will come from a Dankwa or a Buzia. They feel that, the Buzias, the Dankwas are now in power in the form of President Akufo-Addo, who is the current president, and they feel that then if you are taking away the main candidate from us, then give us the vice president position. That is why in this poll, you see 92.9, almost 93% saying that if you are choosing a running mate, choose from the Ashanti region. So beyond the economic aspect of this whole, politicking, there's also the angle of where the candidate is coming from, because political parties must make sure that they benefit from, the regional, political card they play, where they make sure that they pick somebody from the North and another person from the South to make sure they solidify their base both at the northern and southern sector of the country. So it goes beyond just economics.
Goes beyond just the economy. And so what's been the reaction of the Bawumias campaign to the names floating right now?
They say Dr. Bawumias knows who he will choose, but definitely people will also lobby. We will see that maybe till the time he chooses his running mate, people will continue to lobby till he decides that I have chosen person A or B. But if there's anything that we really have to trust, it's a survey or an intelligence gathering from the National Intelligence Bureau. They cannot go wrong with such intelligence gathering. And this is not the first time they're doing it. They've been doing this in the previous elections. And so I'm not saying that I'm putting my 100% stake in this, but if there's anything on intelligence, trust me, I will trust the NIB for this.
All right, a quick one before you go, beyond the numbers coming off tomorrow after Business Live, what are you discussing tomorrow?
So tomorrow we are taking, we are looking at remittances. I mean, we've spoken about this for a number of times, but tomorrow we really want to look at the numbers. We've seen some sort of discrepancies between what the World Bank is reporting on behalf of Ghana and what the Bank of Ghana is tracking. Mm-hmm. The difference keeps increasing, and between 2016 and 2022, we've seen that we've not been able to track about $6 billion of remittances. And this is the backbone of developing countries like even Nigeria, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. All of them are seeing that remittances is the way to go. They are no more dependent on commodities again. Cocoa is failing us. Other commodities like gold, we are not able to get the biggest portion of the pie. But remittances, we hold everything that is supposed to flow in, but we are not able to track, trace, and properly record what flows into this country, and people are taking advantage of it. Tomorrow we'll take a look at it and look at the bigger picture of that projected $8 billion remittance that's expected to flow into this country in 2024. We'll
look forward to it. That's right after Business Live, 5:30 p.m. right here on this channel, Beyond the Numbers. Thank you, lead data analyst here at Joy News, Isaac Ofeje there. Appreciate it. All right, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has attributed the reason for increasing rate of under-invoicing to high taxes and levies imposed on imports. Speaking at a Customs, Controls and Regulations Forum organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, President of GUTA, Joseph Obeng, explained that the tall list of tax build-up on the imports makes it expensive and difficult for compliance.
Going to be with us for a long time, because the taxes that we pay, the cost items were being enumerated by my gentleman here, about 22. And then the tax that we pay, if you pay a tax duty, your goods that you have imported a tax duty of 20%, you know how much cumulatively you pay at the end as a duty. Because the 20% will be charged on your invoice value. So if your invoice value is $100,000, Customs will charge 20% and then slap the 20% again on the 100,000 to become 120,000. Before they charge the VAT, which cumulates to about 22%, and then they charge you again about 15% cumulatively the cost items that my gentleman was trying to enumerate. And so one have to contend with $55,000 to pay duty. So whether you're a Christian or not, your integrity will be impugned. They say that cost to GDP, total tax to GDP in the sub-region, we are last. Why are we not last? The research that we did, the research that Ghana Shippers Authority did with us, so that we pay the highest taxes in the sub-region. And apart from it being highest, the rate being high, we pay varying taxes, many taxes. And so we pay that. So why should our tax to GDP be low? It should have been highest. But if you do that, compliance is not assured. If you overtax us, nobody will comply. That's why we go under, so that we'll be able to do business, to be able to take care of good Ghanaians, give them better prices, and then also we can take care of our children.
All right, some news from the agri sector now. Bono Regional Director of Agriculture, Dennis Abugria-Menga, has called on the Tree Crop Development Authority to enforce regulations to ensure cashew buyers only buy dried cashew nuts from farmers. Cashew prices are linked to well-dried cashew nuts, and Mr. Menga said besides the long-term benefit for the sector, the enforcement of the regulations would also deter the buyers from enticing farmers to sell the raw cashew nuts. He spoke at a Cashew Watch Ghana media engagement with farmers in Sunyane. Precious Semevo has more.
Cashew Watch Ghana, a non-profit organization, champions cashew development and promotion to achieve sustainable poverty reduction among local cashew farmers and processors. Ghana earned about $300 million out of a global cashew market value of $8 billion in 2022, with a projection of $10 billion by 2030. This has been attributed to many factors, including lack of quality nuts and value addition. at an Amplifying the Voices of Cashew Farmers engagement with the media and farmers in Sunyai. The national coordinator of Cashew Watch Ghana, Raphael Goodlove Ahenu, said the country needs to reposition in the sector to draw more benefits.
Out of the 110,000 to 130,000 tons of cashew nut that Ghana produces, we export more than 85% of the cashew nut. So what it means is that if Ghana is able to add value to the cashew nut, Ghana will get more foreign exchange from the cashew sector. And that one will complement the cocoa sector to strengthen our economic situation. That's why, with the support from Star Ghana Foundation, Cashew Watch Ghana is implementing this project, amplifying the voices of cashew farmers, so that we'll be able to address most of the challenges facing the cashew sector in Ghana.
A representative of cashew farmers on the Tree Crop Development Authority Board, Joseph Alexander Bonsu, said one major challenge is the issue of drying the nuts and pricing.
In the LI, it is an offense for a buyer to buy the raw cashew nut when it is not dried. But the buyers come to the fields, maybe adjust their skills and then buy at a lower price. One farmer will decide to dry, another farmer will not dry. But when we go to the market, it's the same price. That has been the challenge. We are not saying the minimum price should be the undried cashew. It is we are dealing with dried cashew.
Given this, the Bono Regional Director of Agriculture, Dennis Abugri Amenga, has urged the Tree Crop Development Authority to enforce their regulations on the drying of cashew nuts.
Because the issue was, why are farmers not drying their cashew before sale? Okay, and you could hear from the farmers, if it's not dried and people are buying it, surely I'll sell. The biggest problem we observe is that it is the agents who go to the farmers to buy the nuts, and they go there with the motive of commission. So the quantity they are able to pay, they get commission on that. So the quality issues are not that important to them, even though they are being guided by it. Tree Crop Development Authority must also enforce some of the regulations. The buying companies should have yards that they buy or they dry cashew nuts. If you are seen that way, it means that you are promoting the buying of undried cashew nuts. And when the farmers also dry it, they should be prepared to give them the premium price.
Precious Semevo, Joy Business, Sunyai.
Now, plantain farmers in Ghana continue to lose out on export benefits of the crop to European countries over the application of agrochemical products in its cultivation. The EU, under its framework, restricts the importation of farm produce grown from both herbicide and pesticide use. Farmers are therefore advised to refrain from the use of the inorganic chemicals due to their health and environmental implications, but rather adopt mechanized tools to boost productivity. Here's more in this report.
Cashew Watch Ghana, a non-profit organization, champions cashew development and promotion.
Many farmers across Ghana continue to apply inorganic fertilizers and other products on their plantations despite their detrimental effect. They cite drudgery as well as the cost and scarcity of laborers to work on their fields.
But when you buy even one bottle of agro input, you're able to spray an acre of the farm, which reduces the weeds and also infections from the weeds and also snakes. So because of labor that we cannot get to weed.
It gives us space. So, and then digging and ironing, also it gives you pains on the elbows and knees. So, and yes, I drew baby, bones so I want a swat. To be okra, if I be 2 or 3 days to crown, oko farm cry, a juma was away, to me, and
the chemicals are reported to contribute to environmental problems impacting human and animal health. The European Union banned the use of agrochemicals on farms and importation of their produce into their markets. An expert, beloved Mensa Jomeku, highlights the challenges of exporting food crops applied with herbicides.
The herbicides, when you apply them on the farm, there is the residue which goes into the plantain fruit. So when they export the plantains, it is tested, and when the residue is detected in it, the produce is rejected by the European Union. and you pay for the rejection and shipment back. So to avoid that, we develop these technologies so that they can avoid the herbicide and use these slashers or weeders.
The Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is introducing plantain farmers in the Agogo municipality in the Ashanti region to mechanize tools for farming. The Mechanization and Work in Agroecological Transitions project is funded by the French Agricultural Center for International Development. Pauline Peugeot is the global coordinator of the project.
Okay, so this project is running up to March 2025. We will have a lot of results. We will understand better the situation on the farm. Is it mechanized or not? What is mechanized? What farmers want to mechanize? What is it going to change if some tasks are mechanized in the organization of the work? And we are going to have some prototypes of equipment that are adapted to local constraints.
The engagement brought together actors along the plantain value chain to better appreciate challenges facing them and proffer solutions. Dr. Natterson Ayram Amengo is a project coordinator in Ghana.
What we can do is to sensitize them on the importance of using the mechanized tools, collaborate with stakeholders as we've brought them along to make sure that the machines are available to them, and provide services that will train them on the use of them. And also, the idea is also to try to form youth groups that can take up these mechanization as service providers and provide services for farmers on their fields.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
All right, and that's it for the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. There is more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. 77% of Ghanaians report stress on livelihood due to rising cost of living. Also, stop Asian foreigners invading retail market. That is good to the government. myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching, everyone.